Hi, I'm Kerry Osborne Smith, and I am an English speaker. I'm a native English speaker, though my English is a little bit of a mixture. I spent a lot of time in Canada with Irish grandparents. I have an Irish mum, an English dad, but I grew up in the States. I was educated in the States. I went to university in the States. I studied business in university, and while I was in university I worked on Wall Street, and then when the Bank of California International moved to the World Trade Centers, I then worked in the World Trade Centers as well, luckily not in 2001. In my university years, had also gone to Austria to study, and when I saw more of the world, more than just the English-speaking world, it developed this nurtured this need for me to travel and to see more of the world. As I traveled through the world, I found that I was working with people. I was doing a lot of volunteer tutoring of English, and having this business background, I thought, hey, I could get paid for this. So I went and I got a degree in elementary education and also in history. So I have taught students from kindergarten up through the upper years of high school in the States. I also went and I taught in Mexico for a year. I taught grade 3 in Mexico. That was a great, fun experience. When I was working for the students in New York City, I went and I got my master's in curriculum teaching as well. So I really enjoy developing and thinking about the various ways to learn and to perceive a subject. So a subject today that I'm going to share with you is perhaps something you've heard much about before, is the difference between convergent and divergent thinking. So convergent thinking was a term that was come up with in the early 1960s, and it was a term that was used for standardized test procedures for deciding IQs. It's a way of eliminating the noise in a problem and converging in on one right answer, one right problem. When people have all of their papers going wild, they need to go and they need to have a paperclip, put it all together, converge on the right, proper answer. Convergent thinking doesn't allow ambiguity. It's great. It rules out all of the problems as far as, well, what ifs. But the world is oftentimes full of what ifs, which is when we now should think about divergent thinking. So, with divergent thinking, what we're going to do is we're going to put on our what if thinking, and we're going to think of what if our paperclip were no longer just this big? What if our paperclip could now be stretched 200 meters tall? What if our paperclip could be made out of different material? What if our paperclip could be somehow turned into it could have something attached to it? Ooh, we could have a paperclip that is movable, so it stores very nicely in the winter time, perhaps altogether, but it can articulate out and it can be attached with different rail cars, and it can be perhaps the next ride at Linnamaki. So we're going to go and we're going to put on the cars that are going to go up and around, and anyways. Okay, so that was my divergent brain having a bit of fun. It was specific, it was a distinct interpretation of how we could see a paperclip. Not necessarily everybody's idea, but that's what we do with divergent thinking, is we allow these possibilities. We defer our judgment. We wait until we are allowing the ideas to go and to disperse, to get to where the possibilities might bring us. We later on in the business world will probably put back on our convergent thinking cap, and we will go and we will variously look at the various ideas, and we will decide which ones hold merit, and we will decide which ones we are going to go with. The world is a lot of what ifs. The world is really being out there and seeing what we need and what others need and what might possibly be needed, and where we can have fun with it by coming up with possibilities, coming up with probabilities as to where we can go with our learning and with our thinking. And I hope with this convergent thinking ideas and these divergent thinking ideas, I've helped you to understand better the differences between the two.